o'clock for Joy on Paper. Once a month, I will have a special guest, the writer's legal eagle, Bill Larson of Larson & Larson, who can answer your questions. Protect your valuable work. Email me your questions to patsy.radio@gmail.com and then listen in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network. That's patsy.radio@gmail.com.
Hey, you new to the area or just want to know about the best hidden gems and upcoming events? Stay tuned. Be Local Buzz with Devin takes you to these places, introduces you to the best businesses, and tells you about upcoming buzz. Preset your radio to Tan Talk 1340 AM or 106.1 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. That is the Be Local Buzz with Devin on Tan Talk 1340 AM and 106 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. Looking forward to speaking with you.
Tampa Bay's Tan Talk, entertaining and informative radio for the Sunshine State.
Tonight, Wednesday, August 17th, the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network proudly present from 5 to 6 p.m., Kicking Unhealthy Relationships to the Curb with your hosts, Stephanie McPhail and Steve Vaccaro. Special guest, Devin Pappas. From 6 to 7 p.m., Voices for Change with your hosts, Miriam and Jera. Special guest, Steve Davis, David Panzik, and Xavier DeRusso. Then, from 7 to 8 p.m., Reach Out with host, New York Yankees community consultant Ray Negron, Frankie Valli's musical director Robbie Robinson, and psychologist Steve Vaccaro. Special guest, Sarah Nimitz and Luis Luigi Castillo. Lastly, 8 to 9 p.m., the Chapters Wrap with special guest Sarah Nimitz and Stacy Goodrich. That's tonight, Wednesday, August 17th, live on the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Just a little piece of paper. But this card from the Boys and Girls Clubs has kept millions of young people off drugs, out of gangs, and in school. Little piece of paper. It's only a little piece of paper. It tells every kid who carries it that someone cares about how they grow up and what they do with their lives. Every day, another 300 kids will join the club. That's 300 kids who will be picking up a membership card instead of a gun or a needle or a knife. It's amazing, isn't it? Even still, there are thousands more children who need our help. You know, too many people feel like they can't make a difference, but I'm telling you this, put this card in the hands of a child and you will change that child's life. Do that and you can change the world. It's up to us. Support a program that works. The Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids. He stood about 5'9" tall, but he was a giant. Billy Thomas. He ran the Boys and Girls Club where I grew up. Now, I know today is different. Young people face problems I never even had to think about. But that's why now, more than ever, we need the Boys and Girls Club. It's a positive place where thousands of people like Billy Thomas help young people succeed. Does it work? It did for me. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs.
What's going on?
Hey, Stephanie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You're not traveling. You're not on the beach. You're not relaxing.
Well, I mean, you had your little vacation before for your birthday, and then
Yeah.
I got to go away for my anniversary. So we got a
That's
little
right.
time away. But I loved the video that we started with Denzel Washington, because anyone who's been watching us for a while might have remembered that. Was it 2 years ago? How long ago was it? We actually got to interview Denzel Washington right in on the Boys and Girls Club. Like we got to actually meet him and interview him. That was like, I didn't know that was on my bucket list until I did it. And I think that was such a great opportunity.
And you nailed it. And you know what? There's only a few people in this world where you just say their name and you know who they are. Like Michael, either Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, Madonna, you know, people like that. But Denzel is one of those people.
Yep. Yeah. And he was such a genuinely nice, warm guy. And I felt like I could have kept talking to him. It was like that time, you know, we didn't get to spend that much time, but it was just, it went so quickly, but it was so natural and just felt so easy.
That's right. This is Kick Unhealthy Relationship to the Curb. That's Stephanie McPhail. I'm Steve Vaccaro. Without further ado, let's go back in time. What do you think, Steph? And check out that interview with Denzel.
Nice.
You are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
She's an author, Stephanie McPhail. Welcome to the show. And you're with Denzel Washington.
Hey, so nice to meet you.
Where are you?
I'm in Texas, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. What part of Texas?
I'm in Houston.
My wife went to what's the name of that school? North Texas State in Denton.
I just moved here from New York. I'm still like a newbie around here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't hear the twang. That's true. That's right.
The New Yorker, the transplant.
What part of New York?
I was in Long Island.
Okay. Cool.
So in my book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, I share how I learned.
Wait, say that again. Your book is called what?
Oh, sorry. Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt.
Okay.
So in my book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, I share how I learned just how important it is to have a partner who is supportive of your dreams and goals rather than one who is critical and makes you doubt yourself and what's possible. Have you learned a similar lesson in your own life and relationship?
That I should what? Have I learned that what? Say that
having a supportive partner. Because from what I understand, your wife has been like the backbone for you. So have you noticed that that's having a supportive partner is really important?
I also understood the importance because I had the platform to talk about my wife and to applaud or commend or share with applaud and commend her, but to share with people the power of what she was doing. So I was consciously sending a message. I have been consciously sending a message for decades about the power of a supportive wife. And the fact of the matter is, yes, she's been supportive in every way and just did a magnificent job. First of all, she sacrificed her career for mine.
Right.
She's back at it now. She's back in business, but she sacrificed for our children. You know, she made every breakfast. She gave them religious instruction every day.
Take Elsa out.
She took them to school every day. So, you know, I talked about her being the backbone because she was there. You know, by the nature of my job, my kids didn't know if I was going to the store or going to Madagascar because I had to constantly leave to go get that that money, you know, to bring it home. So we understood our roles, and I learned to appreciate and respect her role in our home and commend her for that. But yeah, obviously, we need to and we try to support each other. Whether one can make it without that, I don't know. My mother made it without it, the support of my father from you know, a certain point in our life. So obviously it can be done. Needless to say, take more time, not you, but we have to take more time with who we choose to be with. You know, why do we get into the relationship in the first place? Why do we get married in the first place? Is that person just fulfilling something that we think we need? Or are they really supportive? Because I think experience has taught me that people are who they are. I always say I never knock consistency, you know, and a person will tell you who they are. And yes, there's a honeymoon period, even before marriage and all of that. But a person will tell you who they are. They'll show you who they are. But you have to be careful in your decision to spend the rest of your life with someone. And unfortunately, and not just in today's society, but unfortunately, sometimes we find out too late because we got in there for the wrong reason.
Stephanie, thank you so very much for joining us. We're going to move it along.
Thank you, Steph. You got to get that twang, Steph. Get that twang, girl.
I'm working on it.
There you go, Stephanie.
All right,
Thank you
now.
for
All
calling in.
right.
Wow, Stephanie, you never smiled that way when we do a show 2 years ago. Look at that smile there.
You are not Denzel Washington.
All right.
Whenever I have to say that when I shared in the women's groups that I'm in, that I was interviewing Denzel Washington, there was a lot of swooning that was going on. Like he's a good looking guy, you know, and he's getting a little bit older and whatever. He's still a good looking guy. But there were so many women, they're like, can I come too? I just want to see him.
And you know what's cool about Denzel? He just received the Presidential Medal of Freedom this year. I mean, that is an honor of all honors for Americans. And I mean, he's such a great guy, not just an actor. And we have a couple of quotes here. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big, but remember dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. I try to give myself a goal every day. Sometimes it's not just to curse somebody out. And the other quote, the other quote he has, don't just aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference. I mean, Denzel is making a difference in so many ways. You know, we got connected with the Boys and Girls Club first for me in Hempstead with Tony Blum, Tony Burden, who is our board director, and her and I started working together for the Boys and Girls Club of Hempstead. Unfortunately, it folded, but later on, we got a citation from Laura Curran from the Nassau County Executive, and now she's fronting our chapter's community support services nonprofit organization. And before that, I worked with an author, Portia Ingram, who was my first co-host a long time ago, and she became an author. She became a mom, and I want to thank her. There's Portia right there, How to Survive Your 20s. And without Portia starting things off 9 years ago, we might not be sitting here talking, Steph.
It's amazing. You know, it's amazing the people that you get to meet along the way when you're doing things that you're really passionate about. You know, is that anyone who's ever met Steve, you can just, he lives his passion on his sleeve. Like it's there, you can see it, you can sense it. And I think when you're out there doing the things you love, it gets to open you up to all sorts of experiences that you could have never even guessed would be possible for you.
Well, thank you very much. And two other great people that come from Mount Vernon is Mel Campos, who is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. And he's been part of the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club for so many years. And they do a great program there. We just did our Bat Boys show there, and Carmine, engineer there. And there's Janelle and Ray and Carmine and a couple other people that were there supporting. And we had a performance for about 100 kids. And it was really, really cool. And Lowe's Moore is another former NBA basketball player from the New York Nets. And he was a former executive director there for 26 years. And he himself has done a lot of work for the Boys and Girls Club Mount Vernon. But Stephanie, real quick, tell us about your book.
So my book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, is all about my story of overcoming the cycle of toxic relationships and how I was stuck in there I was successful in other areas of my life, just not when it came to relationships, and how trying to hold on to making the relationships work just kept me from really achieving my goals and really was negatively affecting me. But I think the biggest thing of my book is to really just understand that no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've experienced, you can create your best life. The power is in your hands. Sometimes we don't know the exact steps we need to take ourselves. And that's why it's so important to get someone like Steve or myself to help you along that journey. But it is possible for you to create your best life. And if we can use that pain to help others, it gives that pain meaning. And it makes it so that we can understand why we went through it, because we can use the knowledge that we had going through it to help others go through it more quickly.
And we're actually in a new studio today. So we want to thank everybody, Production AF here. And they're doing a great job in doing everything that they do. And we're sitting here in Long Island, in a different part of Long Island with a new studio. So we're working out all the kinks. So we're going to thank Allie for joining forces with us. And she does a great work. She's an author and has done amazing work. And you'll get to know about her over the years. And we want to thank Tan Talk back in Florida. I want to thank Bobby for doing the work that he does behind the glass in Clearwater, and also Anna and Carmine. We're on Tan Talk, AM 1340 AM, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, and FM 104.3 Tan Talk Networks. And we want to thank Bobby there for doing the amazing work that he does. But before we get to our guest, Devin Pappas, we have a little video to show, and then we'll bring on Miss Pappas.
Hi, I'm Devin Pappas, and I am the publisher of Harbor Blessed Living magazine and network. And what we do is we network and bring the community together. We bring residents together through our magazine that we have every month. We do spotlights on people, and then we have events. We also work with the best local business owners. And now we have bonded so much together that we are going to be doing some philanthropy in the area. And we're going to be taking a charity every other month, and we're going to be helping them. We're also going to be doing something for the single population. And on February 19th, we're going to be having a singles mingle Mardi Gras style. And on January 7th, we're just having our regular neighbors night out. It's going to be at Bonefish, so hopefully you can come and make it. You can always check our website, our Facebook, or our Instagram for events and things that we have going on. And you also can get an e-copy of our magazine if you don't actually get a hard copy. And you can look at harborblessedliving.com.
To the show, Devin.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. Stephanie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Devin. I'm excited. This is going to be a great interview.
Oh, wow. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate being here. And Bobby in the background.
He does a lot of great work, and we got Carmine on this end. So we kind of there's Bobby.
He's even
Hi, Devin.
He's never shy of the camera.
I haven't seen you in so long, Bobby.
A whole 3 hours.
I know.
Don't go away, Bobby. You can't go for a dinner break. You got work to do. All right.
Nope, not going anywhere. Not for 3 more hours.
Okay, but who's counting anyway? Who's counting?
Right,
But
it's all
Devin,
fun.
I know you work with Bobby directly. Talk about your show that you do on Tan Talk.
My show is called Be Local Buzz with Devin, and it's on Thursdays from 4 to 5. And it's Be Local Buzz with Devin and Bobby because we drag him in every week. So my show is a derivative of my magazines, which is about bringing the community together and philanthropy. So I will have the local businesses on and talk about their business. We talk about local events and whatever else may come up, and fundraisers, just about the community. It's a fun show. It's great. We have great people that call in and business owners.
And Devin, before Stephanie asks you a question, you like to see people have fun and to have them succeed. That's your passion, correct?
Absolutely. There is nothing more rewarding than to actually help someone grow in their business, grow as a person. I'm a domestic violence advocate, so I work with domestic violence survivors. And there is just absolutely nothing better than to see them earn their wings, so to speak, and move on to the next chapter in their life.
And Stephanie, what do you think about her work with domestic violence survivors?
Well, obviously, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, I actually sent some books to a local domestic violence shelter, probably not that far away from where you are, because to me, being able to give back to people that are currently still in those, toxic types of relationships, and just reminding them that they don't have to put up with people that have treated them that badly. There is no reason for them to stick around someone who is putting them in physical harm or, mentally abusing them, sexually abusing them, all the different types of abuse, that they deserve more. So I love that your work, your work is being called to that. And I'd love to chat more with you about how we can help each other get the word out for education of more people.
Absolutely. And I'm sitting here actually in Empowerment. It's a nonprofit in Clearwater. And I wrote a Pathway to Business Fundamental class. It's an 8-week course where I teach young women, entrepreneurs, or if they already have a job, to possibly get into management and corporate. So it's a business course that I'm actually getting ready to teach at 6:00 this evening.
That's amazing.
We thank you very much for joining us. I know that's why we're getting you in the first portion of the show. And
My
Devin,
pleasure.
what gives you the passion to help men and women in domestic violence situations?
Because it's like the underdog. You don't want to see anyone get hurt. And like Stephanie says, people don't need to be in that, but they don't know how to get out of it. So it helps me to help them, knowing that they can call the shelter, we can give them safety planning. And there's just a lot of red flags that people don't understand that they're even in. Like, for example, jealousy. Jealousy is actually the number one biggest red flag that people confuse with flattery. They almost think that, oh my God, he's so jealous. He wants to know where I am all the time. He only wants me to be with him, not his friends. He's so cute. He even checks my text messages. They think that as love, when reality is a control. So one day they're jealous, and a couple years from now, they are in a homicide situation. And I hate to be so brutally honest about it, but we see murder-suicides all the time as a result of red flags. It starts as red flags, and then it's domestic abuse, and then it's a homicide.
I believe it. I mean, I had an ex that liked to call me incessantly if I was out. So if I would actually dare go out without him, I would get 30, 40, sometimes more text messages, especially if I didn't immediately respond. So if I was out, I'd have to hold my phone and like be prepared to respond to any messages that I got, because if I didn't respond right away, he'd be questioning where I was, who I was seeing, all of that stuff. So, and, there was physical abuse there and things that at the time I kind of tried to downplay, like strangulation. And I'm sure as someone who advocates, you're probably like in your head, like, oh my gosh, I hear that all the time. I put that off as like, well, he didn't break any bones. He didn't leave any bruises. But how dangerous it is to be in a situation where somebody's putting their hands around your throat, how quickly you can die. But when you're in that situation, you just get used to going into survival mode instead of like how to really get out. Because like you said, so many people feel trapped. And there's a lot of women that don't have the jobs. They don't have the careers to get out and take care of themselves with children, lack of education, all that stuff. It makes it so much more difficult for them.
That's right.
Right.
This is Pick Unhealthy Relationships to the Car. I'm sorry, Devin. If you want to join in, please do. It's 727-441-3000, Tan Talk Network. Please join us here. AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, FM 104.3. If you're just tuning in your car, talking to Devin Pappas, and she's talking about her advocacy work with domestic violence. And Devin, what are your thoughts about what Stephanie just said?
Well, absolutely. Actually, if someone's going to strangle you, they want to kill you. I mean, that's the reality. It's never like, oh, I want to strangle them so they pass out. They really, truly want you to die. And that is like probably the biggest red flag you'll ever see. Some of the smaller ones that you can find out in the beginning. Well, people that are dating, they kind of have to think of, someone called it, I think Denzel Washington called it the honeymoon stage. I'm a business person. I call it the probationary period. Just like when you're at work, you get a 90-day probationary period. If you're not being treated like to the highest standards within the first 90 days, it is bad. So if you're in a situation and you see these red flags, like he's putting you down, or he's making you feel guilty about having a win or success, or he's pouting, or he's getting mad at you because you're improving or you're empowering yourself to go somewhere. If he's embarrassing you in public, if he's telling you to stay away from your friends or family, or if he's even threatening you, like, if you leave me, I will do something to your family member, or I will do something to your pet. Constantly putting you down, making you feel inadequate. And that's what they do. And they take control over you where you can't leave because you just have no self-esteem anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how I've always been a pretty independent woman, but I was always in really terrible relationships. Like that's always, I'd be really independent, but it was almost like, I can't be too independent. I need someone to kind of, bring me down for some reason, because of myself. I had low self-esteem, but I had high confidence. And we hear that a lot, too. And so, but I would meet and the last few relationships that were toxic, I mean, I would find someone, I'd be all happy and feeling really great about myself. And then I would start dating someone and then try to make it work with them, with someone who would tell me to shut up because nobody wanted to hear from me. Right. I started to not hang out with my friends as much. I started to not share thoughts and feelings because I was told that I was being too opinionated and I needed to stop talking so much, and that people didn't actually like me. And you hear those things over and over again from someone that you care about, someone that you love.
You're going to believe it.
Yeah. How could you not? I mean, this is supposed to be the person that is supposed to be my best friend, my partner. And then all they're doing is telling me, and it was like, whenever there was a big event coming up, I'd be woken up in the middle of the night so that I couldn't sleep that night. So I'd be exhausted for the next day. And that was like the normal thing. Every time a special, like a birthday would come, he'd ruin the birthday. There'd be a big fight. Something would happen. So it would be like, well, you never let me do nice things for your birthday. And then he would try to do something nice and then ruin it while we were there. And then it would be my fault that he ruined it.
So that's called gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they would do. They would gaslight you, make you feel like it's your fault. And if your actions weren't this, then this wouldn't have been the consequences, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's all mind games. It's brainwashing is really what it is. It's truly brainwashing. And empowering someone to get the right help and to do safety planning, because actually the most dangerous part of someone to be in a domestic violence situation is to just leave. Mm-hmm. That is the most dangerous thing. So you need to really do your research, and you really need to do safety planning with someone that is an expert. So how many times have you heard in the news, or you read, or you personally know someone that actually left an abusive situation, and that's when they really freaked out and they came after you? Mm-hmm. Or you got stabbed, or you heard someone got stabbed, or a murder suicide, so these things happen. So they have to, so if you are in a domestic violence situation, sometimes just leaving is the most dangerous thing. So please call out to your local domestic violence shelter and talk to a specialist and advocate and do some safety planning.
That was one of the best, sorry, Steve, that was one of the best things that I did, was to call my local, and I was a crisis counselor. I was a certified crisis counselor. So I knew, I knew that it was wrong, but I was making excuses and trying to, again, make it work, because successful women, we want to try to figure it out. I'm not successful if I can't make my marriage work, if I can't make my relationship work. So I'm going to try to figure it out. But when I finally said, you know what, I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed, all these things, I'm going to actually just reach out to a domestic violence shelter and see what they tell me, because maybe I am the one who's causing all this. Again, because they mess up your head so much that you're like, you've been told enough times the sky's purple. It's like, maybe it is, and I just don't realize it, because you just get so confused. But to speak to that domestic violence shelter or the hotline, and for them to give me the escape plan, and for me to tell me, like, it was one of the court advocates who had said to me for the first time when I was getting my first or second order of protection, and she was like, do you know how quickly he could have killed you by strangling you? And I was like, that's right. I knew it, but it was to hear it from her. I was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And the things that they called out, and the list of what I needed to make an escape plan to be safe was life-saving. I mean, it was so important to have that, because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
This is Kick on Healthy Relationships to the Curve. That's Stephanie McPhail. I'm Steve Vaccaro, our special guest tonight, Devin Pappas, who is right there on the Tan Talk team there, and she has her own show. But Devin, I have a question for you. I work in New York. I work with a domestic violence shelter and counsel women and work with their children. What is the most challenging thing that you see in the work that you do as an advocate, and the most rewarding?
Well, the most rewarding is, finding that person, getting that person ready to get a new job, having the kids happy, and having them find another place to live, like actually just moving on with their life. That is, of course, the most rewarding. What I find the most challenging is the steps, and I don't know about challenging is probably not the right word, but is actually going through all the processes of having them heal. Because when we get them to the shelter, they're so broken. I mean, so broken. And if they are really badly abused, they are actually might have broken bones. They might be burned. They might have stabs. So you have to go through that kind of healing, the actual physical healing, the emotional healing, before they can actually even accept what happened and then move on. So so I don't know if it's challenging or whatever, but it's just the stages. And what makes me more frustrated is when they want to give up, and they see how hard it is to be on your own, because they're not used to, and they haven't gotten the counseling, and they're trying to think that in a week everything's going to be okay. Or it's not. They have to have patience to rebuild their life, basically. And sometimes they think it's easier to go back to the abuser, and that is very frustrating. And statistics really are, they will go back 7 times before they actually really leave for the last.
Yeah, I think for me it was like probably 9, in between there. I kept throwing him out and letting him back in. But I think I remember not that long ago, I actually found a letter that I sent to the courts asking for the charges to be dropped against my husband and to actually drop the order of protection so that we could try to reconcile. And, I look back at that now and I'm like, why did they let me do that? Why did they say, okay? And I think my sister is actually an assistant DA and she'll call me sometimes and be like, all right, this is what's going on. What can I say? What can I do? And, the thing is that when you are in a domestic violence type of situation, especially when there's children, especially when you're feeling really isolated, you have nobody else, you don't have the guidance, support, and tools to do something different for yourself, you feel really trapped. And there feels like a responsibility for the other person's behavior. So, and again, because we've been told that, all the time that it was our fault that they behaved this way. So like when you finally do call the police and the police come to help right away, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm putting them in jail. I'm getting them in trouble. But
that would be the gaslighting. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's your fault. Stephanie, if you didn't do this, I wouldn't have done that. So in essence, it's your fault, which of course we all know is ridiculous, right?
Yeah. So, and I think that's frustrating for a lot of people, especially friends or people on the other side that are like, why aren't you leaving this person who's treating you so badly? And then the person who's the victim in this situation, they're making every excuse, giving every reason why. And in fact, there were times where the more that someone else would tell me that I should leave, the more I would stick up for them.
Right. So that's why sometimes going to people that don't really understand the danger of just packing up and leaving so sometimes your best friend or your mom is not the best person for this kind of advice. So again, I'm going to say, talk to a professional, call the shelter. They are trained to tell you what is the safest thing to do in your situation. So that's what I would say about that. But when we first get someone that is new and left and broken, they're in a good place, but we teach them how to raise their self-esteem immediately, right? So we talk about surrounding yourself with positive people, joining support groups, maybe taking on a hobby, something that they can accomplish and make them feel like, oh my God, I did something good, something they wanted to do. It could be read a motivational book. It could be watching motivational things. So this is some of the things that we teach them about raising self-esteem. It could even be like, put on this great outfit that makes you feel great. And then when you're feeling sad, go put that outfit on because you know it's going to make you feel great. So music is always a great way to make you feel, pump you up and, build that self-esteem a little bit and get you in a happier mood.
No doubt. This is Kick on Healthy Relationships to the Curb. Please join us, 727-441-3000. Our special guest, Devin Pappas, and we're talking about her advocacy work with domestic violence. But what I love about you the most, Devin, is that you were in the world of pageantry and you've done different things in your life, in your experience, but you use it all for a platform to help others and to inspire and empower others. And that's what I really love about you. So when I first learned about you through our mutual friend, Rachel Barcelona and Barbara Barcelona, I was intrigued by the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's like every day I wake up with a mission. Who can I help today? And that's truly what I believe my purpose is here, to help people, connect people, network with the great people, grow the community in a very positive way, help business owners grow their businesses, help philanthropy, and of course, help people that need help.
No doubt.
Now, what got you specifically interested in helping women in domestic violence? I know you said something about helping the underdog, but did you have any personal experience, any friends or family members that also dealt with that?
So I didn't. So this is the strange thing, because now, of course, everyone thinks that I've been abused, and fortunately I have not. So I kind of fell into it when I moved into Florida. I just was like, oh my God, I should do something, because back in Rhode Island, I used to work with the homeless population. And then I just heard about the real domestic violence situation that we have here in Florida, which of course we know is an epidemic everywhere. So I went through my training, and I actually went to my husband and I said to him, I don't think that this is a good fit for me, because everyone that was in training has either been abused or they were there for some kind of college credits. And I'm neither one of those. So I'm not sure how I can help someone, because I certainly can't say I understand how you feel, because I don't. So he's like, Devin, you're not the type of person to do something without a purpose. You will figure out what that is, but don't give up on this yet. So I went to my first group in the shelter, and I realized that there wasn't a career program, and business is my background. So that's when I sat there and I locked myself in my room for probably about a week, and I developed this 8-week course, which is called Pathway to Business Fundamentals, which is probably like 10 years old now. So I go around and teach this to not only domestic violence survivors, but to any kind of women that just want to be empowered, want some help, want to start their own business, whatever. But I also still work with the survivors. So I know I kind of fell into it. It was definitely, it was a calling.
It was a calling. And I have to say that, having business, you have to have a certain level of self-esteem just to be in business, because there's definitely, it can bring you to the break sometimes in and of itself when you're learning all the different business stuff. But, to be able to empower women so that they can actually make a career and be able to have money coming in. I mean, that's the biggest complaint of why, like, I hear, like, I don't leave because of the kids, because I'm too old, because it's not possible for me to find someone, and because of money. I mean, that is probably overshadowing all those other reasons.
Yeah. I mean, and the reality is those are good reasons, right?
Yeah.
But also what is worth a life? And this is really what we are talking about. It's really that serious. Domestic violence will lead to death. It definitely could. Just look at the homicide rates.
I don't think I would be around if I
wouldn't, because if he choked you, there would have been that final choking. And I hate to say that, but I'm very proud and thankful that you got out of that situation. But if you would have stayed in longer, there is no doubt that you would be what we call, I give speakers and I give speeches, and I do the domestic violence, the Faces of Domestic Violence luncheon. And we have an empty table at the luncheon every year, and it has the people's names that are no longer with us to have dinner with us. So fortunately, you got out because you're not at the empty table.
Nope. Well, I have no doubt that I would have been.
Stephanie, I'm so happy because we've been hosts for 2.5 years. I wouldn't even known of Stephanie.
Well,
that's right.
Well, and I say to my clients, like, I am you, I'm just ahead because I got out. I made that decision to get out. And so if I can inspire you to say, hey, look at what's possible once you do the work, once you heal, look at what's possible. None of this. I wouldn't have met Steve. I wouldn't have met Denzel Washington. I wouldn't have helped the thousands of women that I've now worked with. I mean, none of that would have happened had I stayed in that relationship, and I probably wouldn't be alive anymore. So, I think that anyone who's listening right now, who's questioning whether or not they should stay or go, or if they know someone who is who's in an abusive relationship, that to just remind themselves they don't have to stay stuck here. They can decide right now to get the help and get out and start creating their best life immediately without, putting it off any longer than they already have.
Right.
Wow. Well, Stephanie, I mean, having Devin on the show, I mean, she's in the trenches around what she also does too. She's a publisher, she's a radio show host, and she's getting her message out to help others in different ways, kind of like what we're doing. And I'm sure with her lectures and social media efforts, she's reaching so many people. What's your goal for 2022, the remainder of, and for 2023, Devin?
Well, I just started my own nonprofit. It's called Raising Relief Foundation. And I started the Denim and Diamond fundraiser 5 years ago. And we raised money to help other nonprofits. So far for Denim and Diamonds, we have already raised a net of $700,000 to feed back into nonprofits, into the community.
Wow, that is a blessing in itself, because there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are going from day to day surviving. And I know all about that. So what you're doing is truly amazing, and you're inspiring others to continue to do what they do best, is to empower, inspire, and help others.
So Steve, check it out. RaisingReliefFoundation.org is our website.
Will.
So definitely check it out.
I definitely will. Congratulations. I know you have something at 6, but how can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can go on my website, which is strollharborbluffs.com. So it's STROLLHARBORBLUFFS, strollharborbluffs.com, or raisingrelieffoundation.org.
Wow.
Or they can listen to Tan Talk tomorrow, which is Thursday, every 4 to 5 with Be Local Buzz with Devin.
Right. I mean, you do a great show. I know Bobby offers a little bit to that show, right?
Oh yeah, we dragged him right. I don't think his life's ever been the same since Be Local Buzz, has it, Bobby?
That would be correct. It is a wild ride every Thursday at 4 o'clock.
That's right.
I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Bobby.
All right, see you
Devin,
tomorrow.
isn't Bobby one of the best of the business?
I love him.
Yeah.
I totally just love him. I think he's amazing.
Thank
And
you.
Lola, I love her too. You know,
Lola, everybody at Tan Talk, Carmine, Anna behind the scenes here. But Devin, thank you so very much. We'll have to join forces in working together. And thank you for all the amazing work that you do for others.
thank you. And ditto right back at you. And Stephanie, I would love to, chat with you sometime about this subject, because obviously we have some great work to do together. And Steve, thank you so much. And I'll have to have you on my show.
Definitely. God bless, Devin. It's Devin Pappas, and what a great interview, Stephanie. I mean, she's a great person, inspiring for others, and it's just such a breath of fresh air to see people doing what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the fact that she has not herself experienced a domestic violence type of relationship and hasn't had friends that have experienced, but to have that kind of compassion and understanding that people just need help, and to be able to reach out and be able to give that support and use her platform for something that's so needed and such an epidemic. I mean, I'm a keynote speaker on a women's empowerment conference next week. It's actually in Croatia. I'm not going to be there. I have to do it remotely because I got too many things going on. But it really is all about, empowering women to really step into their full power. And it's not just an epidemic, it's a pandemic. It's everywhere, and it's not new. Domestic violence has been going on for thousands of years, and women are getting more of a voice than they've had before, but it's still not where it should be. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done. And it's not just women. I mean, men need more support as well. I think there's a lot of education that needs to be given. And so having people like Devin that can be there and help people move past this so they can go on to create bigger things for themselves is just a beautiful, thing to be able to do for others.
What I loved about Devin is that she was in pageantry for such a long time, and she used that platform to help others. I met her through Rachel Barcelona and Barbara Barcelona, who's on our board. But another young lady who uses her platform from pageantry and other things is Ashley Blum. Now, Ashley started a show on our network called Teen Talk, but guess what? Ashley's going to college, and she's going to Hofstra, and she has some exciting news that she shared last week. But we asked her to come back onto the show today to talk about her last Teen Talk show tomorrow, but also her upcoming show, which is she'll reveal that when we pop her on. Ashley, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Ashley,
How are you?
I went to Hofstra too.
Did you?
Yes, a beautiful, great school. I loved Hofstra. I had some amazing professors there.
It's amazing. The choice was clear to me as soon as I toured the school. I love it. I'm so excited to start in a few weeks.
So talk about what classes are you taking, Ashley, your first semester there?
Well, I'm a biology major on the pre-med track, so it's heavy. It's a lot. I'm doing, obviously, biology. I'm doing chemistry, and I'm doing a big chunk of lectures for the honors college to hopefully graduate with an honors degree. So it's a lot for my first semester, but I've always liked to be a busy person. I like pushing myself, so I'm excited. And it's all stuff that I like. It's all science, basically. So it'll be fun. I hope so.
Unbelievable. And now you've done this show, Teen Talk, for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I know you're still a teen, but you're graduating to college now. So you're making a change.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment for me, and it's going to be a big adjustment for the show. So as you mentioned, tomorrow is my last show as Teen Talk, and it's going to be a really, really exciting show. And starting in September, monthly, we're going to have a show called Listen to Your Heart, which is Teen Talk 2.0 revamped. with some new messages, new guests, new stories and songs, and I'm so excited.
I'm going to correct you, Ashley. Not 2.0, 4.0. We need a 4.0, right, Stephanie?
Yeah.
A 2.0 is just treading water.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I had friends that did that in college. That was not fun.
But what gives you the passion? You heard from Devin Pappas. She was in pageantry too. You use that platform to help others. What inspires you on a day-to-day basis to help others?
Yeah, well, I started pageantry when I was 12 years old, and I got a Long Island title in freshman year of high school, which is how I met you through Jen Bucala, and I was volunteering with my title. And this past year, I got my first New York title as Miss New York Role Model for Royal International Miss. And pageantry has just been an amazing platform for me to get to advocate for mental health and what I do. But my real passion just comes from the general advocacy of it. I'm grateful for any platform that I get to be able to share what I'm passionate about. And it comes from personal experience. I grew up with anxiety, PTSD from losing my father to cancer when I was 11. And I grew up being bullied. So my passion for advocating for that stuff all came from, I went through it and I saw my friends going through similar stuff. And so now with the show, with pageantry, even in school, I really, really, really have a goal of being able to show people that they're not alone in the struggles they face and that they don't have to be perfect. It's okay to be transparent about it. And it comes from a truthful, passionate place in my heart. It's not because of lights and cameras or sparkly tiaras. It's truly because I care about it.
Mm-hmm. And going to college, I don't know about you, Stephanie. Every time September rolls around, I still get those butterflies a little bit. Because I know I really should be in school or something. But what advice would you give Ashley transitioning from young people from high school to college?
I think the biggest. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that to me or to Ashley?
Go for it.
Stephanie and Ashley.
All right. So I think the biggest advice I could give to Ashley and anybody else who's just going into college is join activities, become a part of the community at college, because especially going to Hofstra where it's not that far away from home and you can automatically fall back on those friends that you had growing up. Part of college is just kind of getting more influence from people that are different from yourself. And I think one of the biggest mistakes college kids do is if they don't live in the dorm, they tend not to participate at all in anything. And that makes you miss out on so many different things. So I know you're going to have a busy schedule. I know you're going to have things to do, but I definitely recommend campus life. Like, go and get involved in the community of the school itself.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I want to get involved with radio over there and drama, and I'm going to keep busy. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Ashley, what advice would you give other young people that are going right from high school to college now?
Well, I'm still learning about it myself, and it's still nerve-wracking. But my biggest piece of advice is to have trust in yourself, because you know a little bit more than you might think, and your gut is usually right. So when it comes to meeting the right people, like for me at orientation and my roommates and all sorts of stuff like that, and picking your schedule, just trust what you know you can handle, trust your intuition. And that's something that I always struggled with, was the self-confidence and self-trust, but that's something I gained over time. And that would be my biggest piece of advice.
And Ashley, what's your favorite thing about high school? What are you going to miss most about high school?
Oh my gosh. Well, I transferred high schools. I did my first year in public school and it wasn't the right place for me. And not saying it's not the right place for everyone. A lot of people love it, but I was bullied and it wasn't my thing. So I transferred to private school. And I mean, a whole nother world was opened up to me there. I felt so at home. I'm going to miss the familiarity of everything because I'm not one that does super well with change, although I've gotten better. And of course, I'm going to miss the people that I spent my years with. I mean, senior year was my first full year of high school at private school because COVID screwed up the other two. So as soon as I felt like I was in a rhythm, I graduated and I was like, what is going on? So I'll definitely miss knowing my way around, knowing the people. Being the big kid is always nice, but I'm excited to start a new chapter. I think it's time. You know, we can't stay in high school forever. So I'm ready now, I think.
I like that word chapter you just used. I think I'm going to keep that.
I don't know where I got that one from.
I don't know. But it's been a proud moment to see you flourish and blossom into the young lady that you are.
Thank
when we
you.
met a couple years back, and to see everything that you've done. your volunteer efforts all over with St. Jude's, your advocacy work, your how you feel about family and friends, and the core of you is such a blessing that I know that you're going to succeed in Hofstra and everything that you do.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for your new show, Listen to Your Heart.
I'm
because
excited.
You do everything from your heart.
Yeah, I do. And again, it's all about trusting yourself. But I feel that in life, sometimes we don't listen to our hearts enough. We think that we have to listen to other people as far as what we're supposed to be. We have to listen to society on some cookie cutter version of what we should be, but that's not true. You have to do what you want to do in your heart, and just do it with love and kindness and good intentions. And that's all that matters.
Well, Ashley, I can't wait for your show tomorrow. Teen Talk with Ashley Blum live in the studio in Belmore. And we'll see you tomorrow night, and you have a great evening. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys. Thank you guys so much. Good seeing you guys again.
Good luck, Ashley. Woo!
Thank you. That's Ashley Blum, Teen Talk. Her last episode as a Teen Talk host. She's transitioning to Listen to Your Heart. What do you think, Steph?
It's exciting, and Ashley sounds so well-spoken and so mature, and I'm excited for her to be able to continue on her journey and become the doctor that she's and the helper. I mean, when you're naturally a helper, you want people to get better. Being a doctor is like the greatest place to be, right? I mean, to me, that's what that feels like. Like, you be a doctor, you can like literally save people's lives,
right?
Every day you go to work. I mean, we get to do that too, but it's such a different experience to me as a doctor.
No doubt, no doubt. And sometimes when people talk to each other, it's always negative. There's always a positive language alternatives that I want to run by you. We only have a few minutes. Let's go over them. I can tell you, Stephanie, calm down. But I also can say, how can I help you? There's two different ways of receiving that, right?
I would not take calm down as well as how can I help?
That's why I never said it to you. Well, good.
And hopefully you never say that to your wife either, because
nobody. No. Let's go with number 2. Stop crying. Or you can say, I can see this is hard for you.
Yeah. Also never say that to your wife.
Yeah. Nobody. You're okay. Or are you okay?
Yeah.
Different tone there. Another one, be quiet. You don't want to say that. Can you use a softer voice? That kind of implies that you're going through something and you're really enabling or empowering that person when you're speaking. Another one is don't hit. Please be gentle. With kids, I guess when you're learning or teaching children not to hit or do different things, it's the way you present it, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And don't hit. That's some of the ones that we have. Like for my 3-year-old, it's don't try to stab your brother with that stick or, something like that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Other versions of that. Or stop yelling. Or then you want to say, take a deep breath and tell me what happened. So sometimes when people get agitated, they're yelling and they're emotionally charged and they don't really realize it, but they're going from 0 to 100. And if you offer that calming suggestion or reply, it might help them to come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get upset. It's okay to get upset. It's okay to feel sad. I think we should support those people that are in the moment that are struggling. I think that's very important too. 2 more that we want to review real quick before we lose our Florida friends. That's enough. Or do you need a hug? There's 2 different ways, and I'm over this, or I'm here for you. It's 2 different ways, same situation, how you can present and how you can help others. And I think that's what it's really all about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we can change our tone and learn to be more understanding of each other, that'll really go a long way.
That's right. We're going to say goodbye to our Florida friends, and we have a few more moments, Stephanie, to kind of talk about and do handstand. We have 1 more minute, I'm being told. But Steph, another great show here tonight. And when we come into starting next week in September, we're going to have more exciting guests. We're going to be lining them up. So we'll have
WTAN.
Want to say goodbye to Tan Talk Network. And I can't wait for our new guests that will be coming on.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be definitely lining up some great new people to come on. And if there's anyone that you would suggest for us to interview on this show, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to get your perspective of people, that personally that might be a great fit for the show. This is all about kicking healthy relationships to the curb. Doesn't just have to mean relationships. It could mean any type of relationship. Could be romantic relationships, your relationship with food, relationship with getting older, relationship with exercise. Relationships are what human beings are all about. So if there's some topic you'd like to hear more about, or someone you know that would be a great fit for the show, feel free to reach out and let's get them on.
Well, Stephanie, you look very relaxed. I'm so glad you're back home safely. And I was looking forward to our show tonight because we haven't done it together in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, same. And I've been on the road. So like to actually be in my own space and have my own seat and all, my normal lighting and all that kind of stuff. I feel good. I feel good to be home.
There you go. Well, you enjoy the night with your family. I can't wait for our show next week. And thank you for all that you do. And thank you for our Florida friends and everybody listening. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Tonight, Wednesday, August 17th, the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network proudly present from 5 to 6 p.m., Kicking Unhealthy Relationships to the Curb with your hosts, Stephanie McPhail and Steve Vaccaro. Special guest, Devin Pappas. From 6 to 7 p.m., Voices for Change with your hosts, Miriam and Jera. Special guest, Steve Davis, David Panzik, and Xavier DeRusso. Then, from 7 to 8 p.m., Reach Out with host, New York Yankees community consultant Ray Negroni, Frankie Valli's musical director Robbie Robinson, and psychologist Steve Vaccaro. Special guest Sarah Nimitz and Luis Luigi Castillo. Lastly, 8 to 9 p.m., the Chapters Wrap with special guest Sarah Nimitz and Stacy Goodrich. That's tonight, Wednesday, August 17th, live on the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network.